Hey everybody, I'm Jack with Future Pastimes, and I'm the designer of Firefly Misbehavin from Gale Force 9. And it is a deck building game that takes place in the Firefly verse. And this video, I'm going to go over a variant for the game that you can play. It doesn't require any additional components, so you can play with everything that you have if you have Firefly Misbehavin. It's called Hostages. So this is a slightly more thematic take on what to do when you nab a core character from someone else's deck. So the core characters are the ones that start in your different faction decks. So for instance, in Serenity's deck, Zoe and Mal are the core characters. So if you have nabbed Mal out of Serenity's tableau, instead of adding Mal to your deck, you're going to put that card that you have nabbed out in front of your tableau, not quite in the display area, so a little off to the side, and Mal is now a hostage. And what's going to happen is, for as long as Mal is a hostage, on your turn, you're going to have one influence that is part of your pool of influence. So it's a virtual influence. That means that when you do a recruit action or a make a deal action, you'll have one influence that is there for you to spend. It's like having a little bit of a discount on stuff that you're going to get out of the market or from the supply sets. So that is slightly makes some more thematic sense. So the idea before with, if I've nabbed Mal, it's not that he's joined my crew. It's just that I am taking advantage of having him under my thumb. That was sort of how it was. It's a little esoteric for some players to get their head around. They're like, oh, I'm using Mal for his abilities in my tableau, whatever. And so the idea here is that the core characters are never going to be part of your deck. But you do get something. When you nab them, you're going to get the reward of nabbing them. You have taken them away from the other player, which can be a big deal. But now they're still under your thumb, and you're getting something for it, some reward. Now, how does a player get this character back? Well, they can get him back in one of two ways. One is they can pick a fight, and they use the fight target token, and they're going to place it on here, and still the defense on here. And the idea is that this is not necessarily representing Mal's defense, but it's the defense that you have got around keeping this hostage under lock and key. So it's still going to be challenging, but the tie still goes to the attacker, and you're using your fight cards. Anything that has the fight attribute can be used in that fight. And then if you win, this card, the hostage, will go into your hand, and you'll get the normal reward for winning a fight. So that's drawing a card or getting a verse token or getting a credit. But the other way that you can get a hostage back is by making a deal. So again, you'll need to use a character. Of course, if Mal is your prisoner, you need to use somebody else. So Zoe can make that deal. She has the deal attribute. Use your activation to make a deal, but you're making a deal with the other player. And you're going to be using credits. So that's another important use for credits, is that you're going to be having to pay up this amount of the cost in order to do that. So you only need one character who can make that deal, use that activation to make the deal, but you'll need to have the credits to do it. Now that player will have to accept the deal, and they'll get those credits. And if that deal is successful, then this card goes into your hand, and that could be used for influence or for some other thing if you have another activation. And then they can cancel that deal, but only through any normal effect that would cancel it. So for instance, they could play a misbehave card from their hand, which gives you the ability to cancel a deal, or a double cross, and there are other effects as well. So that's how hostages works. Now, if you want to take it one step further, you can extend that to non-core cards that have your faction's icon in the top left corner. So as you can see, Wash has the Serenity icon there. And that means that if I've got Wash in my tableau as Serenity, and you nab him, he becomes a hostage. So he still also is not added to the deck of the player who took him, he would be put out front. And if you've got multiple, so if I've nabbed Mal and Wash, so ring any bells, let's say I'm Niska, for instance, and I've nabbed them both. That's 2 influence that I'm going to have at the start of my turn to use at any point on that turn for a recruit action or to make a deal to get something out of the market. So that is how this variant works. So it's pretty straightforward. It's not hard to understand. And again, like I said, it doesn't require any additional components. You can start doing it. I toyed around with having something like this in the base game, but it was adding another layer of complexity. So I said, you know what, let's not worry about that for the base game. And if we ever do an expansion, we can do that. But why wait for what may never happen? So there may never be an expansion for Misbehavin, which is too bad because I've already designed one and it's pretty great. But this is something that you can do right away. So if you're playing the game and you're enjoying it and you want to have it a little more thematic there, especially if it was rubbing you the wrong way with like, oh, I've got Badger and I've taken him away from Eve's Down. Why would he work for me willingly? Why would Niska work for me willingly if I've taken him? So in this case, he's not working for you willingly. He's not even in your deck, but you are getting some influence. You have influence now because you have captured an important person. So that's it for that one. If you have any other questions or comments about this particular variant, certainly let me know in the comments and I'll get to that. And let me know if you're playing Misbehavin. If you have any other questions in general about it, let me know. I'm happy to answer those as well. So that's it for this one. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you again soon.